On the muggy afternoon of July 27th, 1981, Hollywood, Florida felt ordinary. 6-year-old Adam Walsh trotted alongside his mother, Reve, through the bustling Hollywood Mall. It was a routine errand. Reve was shopping for a lamp at the Sears department store while Adam was happily occupied with the video games on display a few aisles away. The boy's eyes lit up at the sight of the blinking Atari console and the toy aisle packed with wonders. In that moment, Adam's world was as pure and simple as any kid's. Just minutes before, he'd been laughing. By the afternoon, everything would turn into a nightmare. There's a photo from those happier times. Adam holding his baseball bat, wearing his bright red cap, grinning wide with a gap where his front tooth should be. The very picture of childhood. Inside Sears, Adam was totally caught up in the Atari games, and all the toys nearby. Not far away, store manager Arnold noticed a commotion. A security guard was shooing off some older boys who'd been messing around. The guard asked if their parents were in the store. They said no. Adam, shy as he was, didn't say anything when the guard herded the older boys toward a side exit. In a heartbreaking misunderstanding, the guard assumed Adam was with them and sent him out too. The older kids bolted across the parking lot into the bright Florida sun, leaving Adam standing there confused and alone on the curb. When Reve came back from the lamp department, her heart dropped. Adam wasn't where she'd left him. She paged him over the store's loudspeaker, calling, "Adam! Adam!" Then she tore through the aisles, calling his name, her voice getting more and more desperate. For over an hour, she and her mother-in-law, Jean, who had rushed over to help, searched frantically. Still no sign of him. At 1:55 p.m., Reve made the call every parent dreads. She dialed 911 and reported Adam missing. The store went still except for the hushed whispers of fear. News spread quickly. The Walsh family dropped everything and poured all their energy into finding Adam. They went nationwide with appeals, even offering a $100,000 reward for his safe return. Television crews captured John and Reve on camera, pleading for help. Later, John spoke bitterly about those early days. When Adam was kidnapped, the FBI did not help us, he told reporters. The FBI refused to enter Adam in the NCIC. There was no missing children's file, nothing. Back then, law enforcement databases tracked stolen cars and boats, but not missing kids. The Walshes felt like they were fighting alone. 13 days later, the worst possible news came. On August 10th, 2 fishermen along the Florida Turnpike, about 100 miles north of Hollywood, found a child's severed head in a drainage canal. The tiny face was unmistakable. Across the state, John and Reve had spent nearly 2 weeks begging and praying for their son's safe return. Now, the authorities brought them the unthinkable truth. It was Adam. John's mom just crumpled to the floor. When he tried to talk, his voice cracked, and at the press conference afterward, all he could manage to get out was, "I was dying of a broken heart." Adam's head was the only thing they ever found. His body never turned up. The death certificate said asphyxiation, but for the Walsh family the real cause felt far worse than any official word could capture. Over the next few years, investigators struggled to piece together what had happened to Adam. Eventually, their focus landed on a drifter named Otis Toole. By 1983, Toole was already in prison for other crimes. During interviews, he started talking about Adam in a way that made people's blood run cold. He claimed he'd grabbed Adam outside a Sears, driven toward Jacksonville, tempted him with candy and toys, then hit him when he cried. Toole said he strangled the boy with a seatbelt and then decapitated him with a machete. Sometimes he went even further, saying that he and another killer, Henry Lee Lucas, had burned Adam's remains. But there was never a shred of physical evidence to prove that part. After a while, Toole took it all back, and then confessed again. The whole thing turned into this maddening back and forth. Truth one day, lies the next, until nobody knew what to believe. To make matters worse, crucial evidence mysteriously vanished. Police somehow lost a piece of carpet from Toole's Cadillac that supposedly had blood on it. Then the entire car disappeared from evidence altogether. Without that, and without Adam's remains, there was nothing solid to link Toole to the murder. When Toole died in prison in 1996 from cirrhosis, prosecutors admitted they had no real case to bring. Hollywood's police chief Chad Wagner even apologized later, saying leads had been dropped and evidence hadn't been handled right. For the Walshes, each year that passed without answers was just another layer of frustration. In the late 2000s, another wild theory popped up, this time involving Jeffrey Dahmer. People remembered that in 1981, Dahmer had been living in Miami Beach, not far from Hollywood, and rumours swirled that he might have been in the area the day Adam vanished. 2 witnesses even came forward. One said they saw a blonde man they thought looked like Dahmer near the toy section, and another claimed they saw a child being forced into a blue van. Dahmer, after all, had a history of severing heads and, coincidentally, drove a blue van for work. Police did interview him about Adam's case back in 1992, but Dahmer denied everything. He even said that if he'd done it, he would have admitted it, just like he had with all his other crimes. John Walsh later said he never saw any evidence tying Dahmer to Adam's disappearance. Eventually, that theory fizzled out like all the others. With no one to charge, John and Reve decided to channel their grief into action. Their homes soon filled with letters, more than 40,000 from people all over the world, each one simply addressed to Adam's parents. On July 27, 2006, exactly 25 years after Adam vanished, President George W. Bush signed the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act into law. John and Reve stood on the White House lawn as it became official. The law created a National Sex Offender Registry, toughened federal penalties for crimes against children, and required every police department to have a fast response plan for missing kids. Adam's name was also immortalized in Code Adam alerts at major retailers, and his face, along with so many others, became familiar on milk cartons across America. Nearly 30 years after Adam disappeared, the Walshes finally heard the words they had been waiting for and dreading. On December 16, 2008, Hollywood Police Chief Chad Wagner held a press conference announcing the case would be closed. He named Otis Toole, the man who had twice confessed in the 1980s, as Adam's killer. There was no new forensic proof, but Wagner said the circumstantial evidence was beyond a reasonable doubt. In the audience, John and Reve sat quietly. John let go of decades of anger with one line, "We can now move forward knowing positively who killed our little boy." After 27 years of uncertainty, they finally had someone to hold responsible.